Hi! I kind of wonder about something, and it may not be something that everyone thinks about on a daily basis, but seriously, how were socks invented? Because you think about it, like ancient Egypt and Greece, you know, they wore paper sandals. It was all sand. There was no need for other shoes. There was no knowledge of it. And then you look at like the biblical time period, and people were still wearing sandals. And then you go farther to colonists. Well, that's a huge jump, but just bear with me here. I think they were wearing, like, weren't men wearing pantyhose or something at the time, and then they created underwear because when they got a boner, it would just rip the damn things. So in that time period when underwear was invented, were socks also invented? Like, how did they figure out a way to cover your foot? Like, when did that become necessary? When was I mean, they show, like, Benjamin Franklin and people like that wearing, like, traditional shoes and boots and all that. But I wonder when we went from wearing sandals to wearing Nike Airs. Like, that's just something, it's happened so many years in between each other. When did this sock thing come about? It just, like, you know, did they originally, before they knew how to get real cotton and real cloth, before, you know, everything, did they think of just taking, like, burlap sacks, wrapping around their feet? Is that what they did? You know, they just have, like, napkins or handkerchiefs, whatever the hell, and just wrap them around their ankles, and that was enough to have, like, this covering over your toes so you didn't get frostbite or something. So, do you ever think about, like, if there was two guys, and they wanted to go out with a girl, like, one guy would tell the other, you know, the girl at hand here, he would walk up to her and say, well, you know, he doesn't even have socks. Why would you want to be with him for? And she'd be like, oh, you have socks? Oh my God. Like, it was something that was this big deal. Everyone had to have socks because they were rich. Only rich people had socks. What if only rich people had socks? What if you were poor and you didn't have socks and you had to tuck in like a piece of nylon underneath your pants? So made it look like you were rich enough to own socks. What if, because think about it, supply and demand ratio didn't exist yet. They were just starting it, but it was all like corn and potatoes and kale and shit. They didn't really have an idea. Clothing, as far as shipping, we had tailors in every block at this time period is what I'm saying. So who was the first tailor on the property, okay, on the ranch, to first adopt socks? You know, like, you ever wonder about that? Like, maybe it was, like, Margaret McIntyre, you know, from down at the Worthington Ranch. Oh, you know, when you hear Margaret, she's making them socks these days. She's making a killing off of that. Oh, my goodness, she's making socks? Everyone just ran to her, because she was the first one to make underwear, and she's the first one to make socks. She gets shit done. She's the badass tailor. Everybody else wishes they could be as good as her. You know, she's a great, well, fine, she's a seamstress, whatever they called him at the time. She is, like, on top of her game. And that's why that part of the plantation, or the ranch, or whatever it's called, I think plantations with slave owners, not trying to get into that part at all, but she was the first one that made the sock. Just something to think about. Maybe. I don't know a whole lot of anything. I'm pretty idiotic when it comes to a lot of things that I probably should know. Just simple things like this throw me for just throw me astray, you know what I mean? Comment down below what you think and give me some feedback about this. It's just something I've always wondered about.